Guys, I have a serious video for you today regarding Clash Royale. Now, as you may know, Supercell recently added level 15 to the game, and the amount of effort you need to put in to reach level 15 is just ridiculous. 50,000 elite wildcards? Just not realistic to do unless you pay a bunch of money. Even if you actively played, without spending money, it would take 10 years, as estimated by someone. So, it's my time to take a stance on it. A lot of YouTubers have, and so I figured it was my time to do it as well. First, we're going to look at the problem with adding new levels. The main point is that adding new levels is kind of pointless. It doesn't add any actual new content to the game. The game is actually played the same no matter what level everyone is at. So for example, if everyone's King Tower and all their cards were level 9, it would play the same as a match between two people whose cards in King Tower are level 14. Just doesn't make a difference, so it wouldn't make sense to just keep adding more levels. Besides, that's just Supercell getting greedy. Now, technically, it might make them more money in the short term because of the people who spend so much money maxing out their cards really quickly. In the long term, people are going to quit. In fact, people already have quit. And if that greed just keeps continuing, the game will just die. In fact, that's what happened to EA. Their games were so pay to win that everyone quit, and it became a smaller company. Speaking of pay to win, I actually have sort of a spectrum of how pay to win a game is. At the bottom of the spectrum, we have games that are just focused on cosmetics and other items that you have to pay money for but don't affect the actual game. An example of this can be seen here on chess.com. Chess.com has premium subscriptions that can unlock a lot of things such as lessons, bots you can play against, puzzles, and game review, which essentially evaluates your games and helps you get better really quickly. Now, these don't give anybody an advantage. They just help people get better. So, two people who are at the same level of skill will have a fair game, even if one of them spent money and the other didn't. Next on the spectrum is what I like to call pay to progress. These games essentially make you pay to progress, as the name states essentially. In a game that is strictly pay to progress, you can technically be on par with somebody who has spent a lot of money, but you would just have to grind for a lot longer. A great example of a pay-to-progress game done right is VTV6. If you look at the shop here, everything here can technically be obtained legitimately. Like, I have almost 50,000 monkey money, and I didn't spend any money on this game. Well, technically, this game does cost $5 to buy, so its monetization system is quite a bit different. And technically, double cash mode does give you an advantage in-game, but everything can be done without it. Plus, double cash mode is not usable in its competitive modes, such as bossdom, where you can compete to get the fastest time, or in this case, least tiers. You don't have to know anything about it to understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to go very deep about it, but let's move on. Back to Clash Royale. You may be thinking that Clash Royale is actually all strictly pay to progress. While you can progress much faster if you spend a lot of money, technically everything is obtainable for free. Like, you can technically get 50,000 wildcards, or elite wildcards, without paying anything. Now the difference here is that paying does let you get them earlier, so it is sort of exclusive to paying. Getting elite levels is sort of exclusive to paying money, at least getting them early. Now that doesn't seem too bad as the worst kinds of pay-to-win games, which have features that are completely exclusive to paying money, even no matter how much you grind. Then these features are also not cosmetic. They actually would give you an advantage to games. A lot of EA games are like this. Think of Plants vs. Zombies 2 or The Sims 4. Now, I don't know much about them, but I do know that you've got to pay a lot of money even just to unlock all the features of them. Well, not a crazy amount, but quite a bit of money. Now, technically, this does mean that Clash Royale isn't nearly as pay-to-win as some games, notably ones by EA, but I am afraid that it will get to that point. Even with where it is now, it's still not acceptable. Even in its condition, people are still complaining so much. Now, the next thing I want to mention is cosmetics. One interesting thing about cosmetics is that basically, no matter how much they cost, or no matter how much you have to grind to get them, people won't complain as long as it's not absolutely ridiculous. For a great example of this, let's look at star levels. Now, star levels are exclusively cosmetic, meaning that they don't give any player a specific advantage. They just make the troops or buildings or spells look better, as demonstrated here with the Magic Archer. Now, what's interesting about them is that they're actually really hard to get. If you look here, you can see how many star points it costs to get to levels 1, 2, and 3. Now, not all cards can go to star level 3, only some can. Most either go to level 1 or 2. This means it takes either 5,000, 15,000, or 35,000 XP for each card just to get to max star level. It used to be even harder. When they were first added, you actually had to be level 13 just to get any star points. Now, what's even more interesting is that people didn't complain. It was almost as hard to get as elite levels. Well, actually, not very hard to get as elite levels, but it was very difficult, because leveling up a card from level 1 to 14 doesn't give you anywhere near enough XP to get enough star points to level it up to star level 3. Only to star level 1. Now, despite this, people didn't complain because it was only cosmetic. It was definitely a successful update, and I think Supercell should just keep going in that direction, just adding more and more cosmetics. If elite levels were just cosmetic, people wouldn't have complained. In fact, they could have bumped the price up to 100,000 elite wildcards. And if it just unlocked more cosmetics for cards, like giving them elite level, we'll just give them a really cool skin or something, people wouldn't have complained. Plus, people definitely would have spent a lot of money getting to elite levels. So that would have benefited everyone, whether it's the free-to-play players who don't care, or the whales who just spend a ridiculous amount of money on this game. Next, I would like to share a few ideas for new cosmetics. Some of them have been inspired by other games for these ideas. and I've just gotten a few from videos. First, I think spawn effects would be pretty cool. You know, like the Ice Wizard spawn effect when he spawns in. Now, he only has this effect because he actually does some damage and slows troops down when he spawns. But it would be cool if every card could have one. But of course, it wouldn't do anything. It would just be strictly aesthetic. Second is projectiles. Like maybe just some projectile effects would be pretty nice. You know, maybe you can use your imagination. Leaving a rainbow trail behind each arrow that the magic archer shoots would be cool. The third idea is trails. Now, the closest thing to trails is like spells like the rocket. It would be cool if troops could leave behind this trail of smoke while they're running or walking, although it would probably be something different. I'm just using this as a demonstration for sort of what I mean. The final idea is just having full reskins of certain cards. They're sort of like hero skins in Clash of Clans. Now, I don't know much about Clash of Clans, but I just think that skins like that would be cool. Okay, now let's get into the most crucial part. How we can fix level 15. Now, the first and easiest fix is to greatly reduce the amount of elite wildcards you need to get to elite level 15 to get to elite level. Or honestly, just remove it altogether. Players wouldn't mind. Or just give people who spent money to get them a refund. That wouldn't be too bad. I think I would accept nothing higher than 20,000 for the requirement. I think 20,000 would be pretty reasonable, but honestly 15,000 would be better. I think that's a pretty fair requirement. Now, I have other ideas as well, but none of these other ones would be good enough to justify elite levels on their own, unless like you just did one of these other ideas in combination with reducing the requirement by a little bit. That would work. The first one is having 2 elite levels. So elite level 1 would require 15,000 elite wildcards, and then elite level 2 would require 25,000. In total, 40,000 elite wildcards. If this was implemented, elite level 1 would give 15,000 XP, and elite level 2 would give 25,000. And by the way, currently leveling a card up to elite level gives 50,000 XP. If this is implemented, players with elite levels would get 10,000 elite wild cards back for each card they have at elite level, and then they'd get 10,000 XP and star points taken, and everything would just be at elite level 2, which is basically level 16. This way it would take a little less effort, and you'd get 2 levels as opposed to just 1. Honestly, my favorite idea is having daily elite wildcards. So, if we look here, I think that you should start getting them at level 34, which is King level 12. At that point, you should get 100 per day. At level 35, it goes up to 200. And then at level 38, or King level 13, you get 300. And then it keeps going up. So you get, quickly, just go through the other ones. So 400 per day at level 40, 500 per day at level 42, 600 per day at level 45, 700 per day at level 48, 800 per day at level 50, 900 per day at level 54, 1,000 per day at level 55, 1,100 per day at level 58, 1,200 per day at level 60, 1,300 per day at level 62, 1,400 per day at level 65, and finally 1,500 elite wildcards per day at level 70. This would really help players get elite levels faster. Now, another quick idea is just gold conversion. Essentially, if you're just sitting at 5 million gold, any gold you'd get would be converted to elite wildcards at a rate of 5 gold per card. I think that would be fair. Then finally, one slightly more creative idea is, well, not really creative, is for cards that you already have at elite level to give double elite wildcards. So, you know how when you get level 14 cards you have at level 14 in chess, they're just converted into elite wildcards. If you get cards that are elite level in chess, you instead get twice the amount of elite wildcards as you would before. So you get 4 per common card instead of just 2. Not sure about rares and epics, because I don't know the conversion rates, but you get 400 per legendary instead of 200, and then 800 per champion instead of 400. Here are the conversion rates if you're interested. Now that just about wraps it up for what I'm going to say about this new update. I think everybody should take a stand for against Supercell. One example is tomorrow and the day after, people are trying to do essentially a global shutdown for 2 days straight where we just do not play at all for the next 2 days. That'll really get their attention. Brad, very famous YouTuber within the Clash Royale community, said that he is not going to upgrade a single card to level 15 until they fix the update. I am also taking a stand for them. I'm not going to spend any more money on this game until they fix the update. I encourage you to do something as well. If we all take a stand for Clash Royale, they're going to fix the update eventually. At least they probably will. I feel like at some point, when everybody is just revolting, you just have to give in. You just have to give in. Like in a video game, if everybody takes a stand and they're just not spending any money or whatever, then their game will die, or at least start to die, and they'll be forced to do something about it. They'll have to listen to the community and fix their game. Then that's all there is to it. Hope they fix the update, and have a nice day. See you next time. Oh, you're still here? Well, I want to look at this Clash Royale knockoff that people say is actually really good, called Boom Arena. One thing that really stands out to me is what the pictures on the Google Play Store say. Real-time PvP battle, fair matchmaking, no card is overpowered, cards have same level, balanced gameplay. It really stands out because that's not what they usually say. If you think about other apps, they usually just say the main points of the game, not aspects that set it apart from the game that it's clearly just trying to be. I might try it in the future, but if you would like me to try this game, please leave a comment down below. I would be happy to try it. Anyways, I'll try to upload a little bit more often than I have been, and that's actually all I'm going to have for you today. Goodbye.